I like to start first by saying that I love your show. I think it's a really brilliant portrayal. As somebody who grew up listening to a lot of hip hop and rap as a kid, I thought it was a really good portrayal. And I would like to start with you and your character. You got the pleasure of portraying Ghostface Killer from the group. What is your process? What is it like playing someone in this biographical standpoint?
Yeah, so I think my process started with just trying to understand who Dennis was before, Ghostface Killer. I think that I really tried to start from scratch, which was, what was the music that he listened to growing up? Who were some of his favorite artists? And what type of, you know, food he liked, or kind of delving into the comic books and him being drawn to those stories and why, and trying to understand this, what turns into Iron Man, the album, like where did that kind of come from, So starting from scratch was very important for me, and also speaking to RZA a lot and understanding, just hearing some of the stories that he told about their experiences when they were younger and how I could use that to build this character at this time before trying to, a lot of people are like, oh, well, did you listen to all of his albums, the first season? And I was like, no, I didn't, because to me, that wasn't the necessary information, really. There's certain songs where he talked about, his past, and I for sure listened to those, All That I Got Is You and stuff like that. But, I was more so intrigued with trying to find the earliest interviews and trying to really just hear stories about what it was like to grow up in Staten Island at that time before the fame.
Yeah, that's great. I see you did a lot of your preliminary research and things.
I did.
Was it intimidating at all? I can imagine, doing a biographical piece off of someone with so much, cultural influence can be a little bit scary.
Right. Not necessarily. I think that, growing up, I was always kind of I always remembered that, at the end of the day, we are all just people. The same bullet that can kill another person can kill me. So that's kind of how I approached the world growing up. And I think that had a lot to do with me being able to, get chosen to portray such an iconic figure, because I still also look at him like a person who, yes, is very influential and who has grind and hustled and, has this, worldwide fame that he deserves because of his talent and because of his work ethic. But at the end of the day, he's also just a person, and there's, all these complexities that exist within him that also exist within me. So I tried to focus on that first. And I think that the rest just kind of came naturally, like as much as he is an iconic figure in, hip hop and rap and the music industry, that is what I aspire to be within my craft, which is acting, and I have some other artistic things that I'm interested in as well. But I just tried to, I tried not to make it too, in the clouds. And I tried to just start from the script, which is what I learned from in drama school, and start what was on the page and just really honor telling this story truly, as opposed to looking at it as this like super, again, like fantasy kind of thing that I was doing. So
yeah, that's great. That's a very down to earth kind of perspective to have that you don't see very often.
Yeah.
So I like that. As compared, we're now in season 2. So as compared to season 1, what aspects of Dennis's story are you most excited to see on the screen?
I'm most excited, and I'm excited for audiences to see kind of the development of him, some maturity that exists within his character, given, the fact that there's now another life that he's responsible for. And so that kind of contributes to, how he prioritizes things that are important. There's certain risk factors of things, and kind of taking that into account before he acts. First season, he was it's like a fire, everything just kind of popping off here and popping off there and always ready to kind of pop off. But second season, there's a little bit more of a simmer that's going on within the character that I think audiences are really going to be drawn to, and I'm excited for them to see. So.
No, that's great. And you know, the approach that you took to acting out as Dennis was very down to earth, and you try not to get, you know, caught up in the Hollywood of it. But you and your castmates portraying this story of a great, you know, group in African American history, this rap and hip hop group. Does the cultural, you know, significance of that strike you at all? Do you ever just take pause and be like, wow, you know,
Oh,
this is a great story that we're getting to
yeah,
tell.
I mean, absolutely. I think that I'm never not aware of what's going on. I think that there's just a level to which it feels like this is what I've worked for my entire life, so it does feel normal. You know, I don't. It's less about fanning over somebody and more about being like, I feel so blessed that all the work that I've put in my life and my journey has now allowed me to be amongst these people who were once where I am at currently and are now where they are at. It's really inspiration more than anything. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so like you know, grew up listening to 90s hip hop a lot, especially, you know, with my mom and my family. And so that also, it means a lot to me that this is my first project, my first major, you know, series regular, to be representing New York and such, again, iconic hip hop and music group in general, you know, beyond just hip hop. They are, Wu-Tang is like of the world for real. And I think that that's also something that's so beautiful because, you know, I am also like that. And I've, you know, traveled, you know, been to different countries and doing different things and studied acting in, you know, London and did, you know, certain classes in different places and stuff like that. So I feel, again, like it was a very natural position for me to be in because of all the, you know, the work that I did. And so, yeah, I do feel really blessed to have somebody like RZA that I can call, or Ghost I can call and just kind of chop it up with. But when we do talk, again, it is just it's a very grounded conversation because I'm just you know, that's who I am. And so I think that, again, that is why I'm here. That's how I was able to kind of have 2 credits on my resume and land, you know, in between, you know, Ashton Sanders and Shameik Moore, and, you know, just kind of be comfortable.
Yeah, that's great. And that's really wonderful to hear that process of, you know, getting yourself out there and getting the parts that you've worked hard for. So it's really great to hear. And also pivoting a little bit, I also got to see your performance as Mercutio
Oh, wait.
in the kind of modern day iteration
Yeah.
of Romeo Juliet. Tell me what that was like. I think you were brilliant in that as well. And
Thank
how does that
you.
compare to, you know, the kind of rougher position that you have to take in this show?
Yeah, I'm really excited for audiences to see that, you know, whenever it comes out, because I, you know, put a lot of work into that. I put a lot of work into everything that I do just because I'm, you know, my own toughest critic. You know, I'm not really looking for any sort of outwardly acceptance, which is why when people are like, I love what you did here. I love what you did there. I'm so great. I'm filled with gratitude that people would support me in that way. But I am like, I try to work really hard so that I feel comfortable with the stuff that I'm putting out, you know, regardless of how everyone else feels. Our hashtag J, Romeo and Juliet, was just really great for me because, you know, I've trained in Shakespeare before, you know, like I've known about Shakespeare and been in Shakespeare plays since middle school. So that was just kind of a world that I was used to tapping into, but then kind of obviously the take that we took on it and it being for the screen and it being screen life and doing scenes kind of through FaceTime or through Instagram Live was its own thing. And it was really exciting for me also to just play a character that was kind of like a complete 180 from Dennis and from Ghostface. But I also think that that's part of my power as an artist, and especially a Black man, is to portray all these different ways to be a Black man that are all valid and all, you know, exist within the world. I really want to be, you know, like that wild card in Hollywood. I really admire those types of actors that they're, no matter what world they're existing in, you believe that they're supposed to be there, even if their characters are like night and day.